Hi, Jenna.
Good morning. How you doing?
Good.
Good. All right, let's do it. So we're gonna start on our backs. You can make your way down whenever you're ready. Go. And we're gonna go with a yoga block right in between the inner thighs. Okay. So feel free to go with the narrow way or the middle wide way, whichever one you want. And yeah, whatever feels most comfortable for you. And then we're just gonna take the hands and stick them right on the lower part of the ribs. And then you can feel free to kind of stretch, wiggle, move around in any way that you need to get settled into your mat, get connected to your body, start to transition your attention inwards, and kind of let go of whatever was happening before this. Okay. And we're going to start just keeping it super simple today. So, focusing on taking a slow, expansive breath in and a long breath out. And as you breathe out, you can gently hug your yoga block. Now, when you do that, notice if you start to like squeeze your butt or kind of clench it, try to keep a little bit of a baby arch in your lower back and not tuck your pelvis under too much as you exhale and hug the block. So we're staying in a little bit more of a anterior tilted pelvis, okay? But we're just focusing on lengthening our inhales and then lengthening our exhales. Gently hugging the block on the exhale, getting all the air out. And today we'll just relax like the belly and the hugging of the block on the inhale. And then engage, hug the block, find your low belly muscles on the exhale. Good. And just move through that like 3 or 4 more times on your own, warming up your breath this morning. Notice if your shoulders start to lift up or your face, your neck, your jaw starts to tense. See if you can soften those areas of the body. Just kind of settle into your mat a bit. Nice job. Okay. And then after your next exhale, we're going to move into some pelvic tilts. So when you breathe in, you're going to tuck under. So it's just the pelvis that has motion at it. Your ribs are staying in place. You're going to tuck under and inhale. When you tuck, that means the low back is pressing into the mat. And then exhale, tip forward, baby arch. Good. Inhale, tuck under. Exhale, tip forward. Good. So see if you can let your breath drive your movement here, and we'll move through that really gently, maybe 4 or 5 more times. Inhaling, tucking, exhaling, tipping forward. Or you can think of it as inhaling, flattening the low back into the mat, tilting your hip bones towards your face. Exhaling, tipping forward, arching through the low back, drawing your belly button a little bit up and in. Good. Beautiful. Okay. And then from there, I want you to try to find a bit of a happy medium. So, in order to do that, okay, it doesn't need to be perfect or anything. But if you move your hands down, you can find these 2 front hip bones, right? These bony landmarks in the front of the pelvis. And then below that, we have the pubic bone. If you kind of tilt back and forth a few times, a neutral position is around where those things are flat. So, like your pubic bone isn't forward of your hip bones aren't forward of your pubic bone. They're around the same plane. And like I said, it doesn't need to be exact, but that's just an idea. If you're unsure of what middle ground is, that's a way to kind of gauge it. Okay. From there, you're gonna take a breath in and then exhale and simply hover your left foot 1 inch off the ground. Inhale, keep the foot hovered. Exhale, breathe out. So see if you can do 2 more breaths here, just hovering that left foot. But this actually should pretty much be kind of lighting up your low belly muscles and your inner thighs quite a bit just to pick this foot up, right? And then once you get about 3 cycles of breath with the left foot hovered, you'll bring the left foot down and you'll exhale, pick the right foot up, and we'll go through about 3 cycles of breath with the right foot lifted. Okay, and still trying to keep shoulders, head, face, jaw, all the upper body pretty relaxed. Nice work. Okay, so after 3 cycles of breath with the right foot up, the right foot comes down. We're gonna go back to the left. So the left hovers, and this time you're gonna extend your left leg straight out in front of you, still gently hugging the yoga block, no need to crush it. We're gonna circle this left ankle nice and slow. Nice and slow. Yep, the hips are down. You're looking for that somewhat level pelvis, so hip bones and pubic bones somewhat in the same line. Then you're working on circling your left ankle. Good. And we'll visit both directions. Nice. And then the left foot will come down. The right foot is going to extend forward. Beautiful. And then find your circles on the right side. So about 5-ish in each direction. Try not to move anything else except the ankle. Perfect. So about 10 total. And then the right foot comes down. Nice. And then let's take the yoga block out. You can place it aside and then bring the soles of your feet towards each other. So we're going to come into a little bit of a butterfly shape. Okay. And then I want you, so you're going to bring your soles of your feet together. The outer edges of the feet are on the ground. And then take a second, and it's not even like a movement, it's more of an isometric. You're going to think about pulling the outer edges of your knees towards the ground and just like initiating that action with these deep outer hip muscles. You're going to feel kind of like a deep stretch deep in those outer hips. Yeah, so you're just pulling the knees towards the ground. Good. And you might feel it in the outer and the inner thigh. You might feel it in both. Okay. Then when you're ready, just move your knees up like a tiny bit so they're not pulling towards the ground anymore. You're going to drive through the outer edges of your feet, and we're going to lift the hips up and down in and out of some of these butterfly bridges. Okay. Good. So right now we have equal weight in both feet. And you can even think about gently tugging or dragging your heels back towards your butt as you lift and lower, or mainly as you lift, I guess. And that will just give you a little bit extra tension through the lower half. Okay. Then I want you to play with the same exact movement. And also I have my elbows down on the ground for a little bit of support. If you want to make it more challenging, you could do this with the arms up, whatever you're in the mood for. But to play with this a little, I want you to do the same movement, but put as much of your body weight into your left leg as you can. So it's the same exact movement. You're still dragging like the left heel back a bit, but you're just trying to rely only on your left leg and less on the right. The right is still on the ground. The right is still helping somewhat, but you just put as much of your weight in the left side as you can. See how it feels, and then switch to the right. Yep, so you're driving through the outer edge of the right foot. Hips come up and down. Perfect. Awesome. Then from there, we're going to pause with our hips up, okay, and even out the weight again between the feet, okay, still dragging those heels back, and then we're going to pulse the knees up and down. Try to stay connected to those low belly muscles. You can tuck under a little bit here, okay, so tuck the pelvis a bit, and then you're just like kind of fluttering those butterfly wings as quick as you can, or as quick as you can maintain control, and then just see what you feel. Okay, probably going to be some burning in the glutes potentially, especially if you're dragging those heels back, especially if you're going pretty fast. Good. Beautiful. And then when you're all set with that, hips come down, feet now come mat width apart. So take them nice and wide. We're going to take the arms nice and wide out to a T, and then you can let your knees go over to the left as your gaze looks right, and then your knees go right as your gaze looks left. And then you can oscillate back and forth like that with some oppositional windshield wipers. So sacrum goes one way, cranium goes the other. Awesome. And just try to relax when we do the reset, right? Let the body soften, let everything get a little heavier. Okay. And then we're going to do, you're going to use both yoga blocks for this. We're going to do a little bit of like a chest fly. It's obviously unweighted because we're using yoga blocks, but look at the arms, the shoulders, the wrists warmed up a little bit. So you're going to put one yoga block on each hand and then reach them up. Okay. And you want to, like we talk about when we do this, spread through your palms, check out your thumbs, and don't have your thumbs gripping around the block. Okay. Okay. So then from there, you're going to turn your fingers east and west. So you're going to turn your left hand to the left, your right hand to the right. Beautiful. From there, we're going to lift both legs halfway up. So your knees are going to park over your hips. Okay. You decide, like, as far as how close your knees are to your face. Like, if you can bring your knees a little bit away from you, it's going to engage your core a little bit more. If your low back doesn't love that, bring them in a little closer. Okay. You could also just have them directly over your hips. And then all we're going to do, okay, is keep your shoulder blades on the ground right now. You're going to inhale, open your arms up and keep your elbows a tiny bit soft. So I want you to like feel your chest opening. That was our inhale. And then exhale, lift your shoulder blades and press your blocks up towards the ceiling. So it's going to stretch behind your shoulder blades. So you inhale, shoulder blades down, open the arms, and then exhale, lift the shoulder blades up. Nice. So see if you can move through that kind of slowly. I just think that if you go slower, you'll get a lot more out of it. So you're inhaling, opening, and then exhaling, pressing up. Shoulder blades are down as you open up. Shoulder blades come up off the ground as you press those blocks up. Elbows are staying soft pretty much the entire time. So we're not locking the elbows. This movement is not coming from the elbow. It's all happening at the shoulder. Nice job. And yeah, good. Let's do two more. Kind of have to do like a decent amount of these to really feel it, but it will for sure warm up your arms, your shoulders, and your abs. Nice. Awesome job. And then you can bring your feet down. We can lose the yoga blocks. We're going to do an early figure 4 today. So take the arms out to a T again. Cross your right ankle over your left thigh. Drive your right knee away from your face. Like that really kind of makes this if you keep driving the knee. And then just gently rock your lower half from side to side. Nice. And then I want you to let your legs go all the way over to the left side. And it doesn't matter if your right shoulder lifts up or stays down. It's whatever your body does is going to work for this. Okay, but you're going to pretend this right arm is like the hand on a clock, and you're going to move it all the way up toward your right ear or as far up as your shoulder allows, and then all the way down. So you could think of it as the arm moving up towards 12 and then down towards 6. You're still driving the right knee away from you. And like I said, you can do this with this right arm, with this right shoulder and arm, like either on the ground, just gliding, or if yours came off the ground, when you let your legs go all the way to the ground on the left, then you can do it with it off the ground. So either one is fine. But we're just looking for like a smooth gliding motion. If at any point it like hurts your shoulder to go into a certain range, just make the motion a little smaller. Okay, so it doesn't have to be a huge movement. Nice job. And then we'll come back to center. We'll uncross the leg. We'll do left ankle over right thigh. Drive the left knee away from your face. And then just start out by gently rocking side to side, looking for a bit of a stretch through that left hip. And it really helps to intentionally drive your left knee away from you. Perfect. And then you're going to let your legs topple all the way to the right, and I want them to touch the ground. So like you want your outer edge of your right leg and your left foot on the ground and your left knee moving away from you. Totally fine if your left arm lifts up, totally fine if it stays down. And then you're gonna glide your arm up towards 12 and then down towards 6. You might need to move some props out of the way. Yeah, good. Nice and smooth. And like if you hear some like crunching or crackling that you don't like, that's another option is to just like move through a smaller range so that it goes away. But I wouldn't worry about it if it doesn't hurt and it's just a little bit noisy, it's okay. Yeah, my left side's a little bit noisy. Awesome. Okay, we're gonna come to center and we're also gonna do some early rocking and rolling today. So let's start from a seat though. So you can just roll over, come on into your seat, and we're gonna work on our overhead reaching. So the yoga block is gonna go right in between your forearms with your palms facing your face. Okay, so we're gonna roll back. You wanna make it nice and smooth and fluid. You're really rounding through your spine as you roll back. And then when you sit up, you reach up and you lift your heart up towards the ceiling. Good. So you roll and then reach, lift your heart, lift your block. Good. So your palms are facing your face, right? So it's that supinated forearm position that we play with sometimes. Good. Nice job. Like 6 to 8 is good. Perfect. And then we're going to flip over and transition. We're going to head into tabletop today from there. So grab your knee padding. You can always get like a sip of water. Do anything you need. Now's a good time. We're going to stick our hands on top of our yoga blocks to start with. Okay. So you're going to spread through your palms. Just make sure your blocks are like wide enough. Okay. So you don't want them too narrow. Right? And you can untuck your toes if you want. We're on the tops of the feet. And we're going to play with some of this hand stuff we've been focusing on the last couple of classes. So as you rock your hips back, your awareness goes into the outer edge of your hands, like the inner edge of the arch lifts up a little. And then as you rock forward, you're going to push into the inner edge of your hand. So you rock back, outer edge. Then you rock forward, pointer finger and thumb bound, inner edge. Good. So see if you can play with that 3 more times. We'll do 5. Awesome. Okay. And then we'll kind of continue some of this pelvic awareness work. So take one of your yoga blocks and stick it right on top of like your thoracic spine. So stick it up high. Yeah. And then you can just move your other one out of the way so you won't be uneven here. You can just come onto your palms. Okay. So the reason I'm having you put it there is because I don't want you to move up there. So what you're going to do is just tuck your pelvis and breathe in. So tail between legs, and then stick your butt up and breathe out. But try not to do a full cat cow. So the block is just sort of a reminder that the thoracic spine, the upper spine does not move. It's so subtle. Like even I was just looking and I was still moving my upper spine a little bit. So as subtle as you can make it, and it's only in the pelvis. Inhale, tuck, exhale, stick your butt up. Inhale, tuck, exhale, stick your butt up. Beautiful. Just like 2 more. And then we're going to take that yoga block and shift it down. So now it's on your low back. Now it's on your low back. Okay. Now this one I think is actually more challenging. You want to try not to move your pelvis, and you want to think cat cow with your upper back. And again, it's going to be subtle, but you're going to think inhale, round my upper back, exhale, lift my sternum up towards the ceiling or straight ahead. So it's kind of like your heart moves down towards your pelvis, then your heart lifts up. Yep. And your head just kind of moves with you. but you're trying not to involve your lower spine. These things are not easy, right? They look like these subtle movements. They are, but they require a lot of motor control, a lot of body awareness. So if you're having a little bit of trouble, that's normal. Good. Awesome job. Okay. From there, while we have the yoga block here, let's take advantage of it being there. Okay. We're going to push into the arches of our hands. Push into the arches of our hands. We're going to lift our knees up off the ground with the yoga block on our low back. Yep. Then you're just going to rock your hips back an inch or two or three, and then rock forward, push into the arch of your hand. When you rock back, you can go to the lateral edge, outer edge. When you rock forward, you can push into the inner edge. If it gets to be too much at any point, you just do it with your knees down. Good. Nice job. Yeah, I'm a little under the weather, so I'm going to do some things a little bit easier today. I'm going to keep my knees down. So you're going to rock back, around the outer edge of the hand, and then rock forward, inner edge of the hand. Perfect. Love it. Okay. From there, we're going to reach behind us, take the yoga block. So take it with your left hand. So we'll all stay together because we're going to do a little bit of a thing here. Reach behind you. It's going to be internally rotating your shoulder. Take the yoga block, place it right underneath your nose on the ground. Then you're going to take the yoga block with your right hand and take it right back on your lower back with your right hand. Yeah, try to keep your core nice and active as you do this. So reach back, take it with the left, place it down under you, and then grab it with the right hand, place it right on the low back. Good. So 2 more. We're going to do 4 in each direction. It's not that fast. Like you could do this fast, but it's just not that fast. Good. Okay, so then after 4 in that direction, okay, you're going to reach behind you with your right hand, brace your abs, grab the block, place it down below you, right hand down, block goes behind you on the low back. Okay, take your time. Just kind of notice your weight shifting when you pick up a hand. Notice how your weight might shift more into one leg than the other. Notice how your core responds to the movement, how your shoulders respond to the movement. Yeah, this involves a lot of shoulder mobility, I have to say. Nice job. So after, I don't know if I did 4 or 5 on that side, but after 4, you can bring the block down, and then we're going to go back to climbing up on our blocks with our palms. Back to that. That was a whole little detour we just took, not an unplanned detour. And then we're going to tuck our toes. We're going to go back into a knee hover. And then from your knee hover, just reach your hips up and back. So just make sure your blocks are secure, right? We don't want them sliding away. Shake your head yes and no. See if you can really reach your hips far, far, far back. Like get them back as far as you can. Reach your shoulders back, spread through your palms. Feel free to pedal the feet, walk the dog out a little bit. Yeah. And then we'll rock forward into a high plank. Okay, forward into a high plank. You'll have to scoot your feet back a bit. Good. Take a moment here. Think about dragging your hands and your feet towards each other. You're pulling your rib cage up towards the ceiling, but you're not rounding your upper spine. I want you to kind of lift your heart up a little bit. Head is in line with spine. And then from here, the left knee is going to drop down. So left knee is down on the ground now. Great. We'll pulse this right heel back and forth a few times. So you're on the ball of the foot and you're just pulsing that heel. Awesome. And then today we're going to do a fire hydrant and like a contralateral movement with this left arm. So you're going to pick your right foot up, bend your right knee. Yep. And you can flex your right ankle. Then let me think about this. So you're going to take your left arm, bend the elbow and start it right here like this. So it's like my elbow's under my shoulder. And what you're going to do is like take this right leg out to the side as you lift your left arm up. So it's like a half goalpost and your right leg is going into that fire hydrant and then you're bringing them right back down. Yeah, you got it. And then try to stay lifted through like the rib cage. Keep lifting up towards the ceiling. So it's that fire hydrant motion with the right side and a half goalpost with the left. Good. Nice job. Try to stay nice and connected to your core. That's what's kind of facilitating this. And then I'm sure you're going to feel your right shoulder. Some of you may feel your left glute, depending. Awesome job. And then we'll bring the left hand down. You're going to step your right foot forward in between your hands. Yep. We're going to take a yoga block with us. Come on up. And then we're going to give it a bear hug. And we're going to practice some of this kind of differentiating different body parts stuff again. So you can have your back toes tucked or untucked. I like to tuck. Feels better for balance-wise, but you do you. And then I want you to imagine these two front hip bones, right? Those two bony landmarks we talked about in the beginning are facing straight ahead in their headlights. So your headlights are going to stay facing straight ahead. Your eyes can be another set of headlights that are facing straight ahead. The only thing that's going to move is your rib cage. So you're rotating the yoga block to the left and to the right, but that's it. There's really nothing else moving. Okay, so those two headlights at your hips face straight ahead, your eyeballs face straight ahead. You're just rotating at the rib cage. And if you get a little wobbly or something, that's totally normal. Okay, from there, we're going to change it. We are going to move the pelvis. So walk your right foot forward just a little bit. Give yourself a little more space. Now, you're going to drive your right knee forward and you're going to turn your hips and your rib cage to the left as you drive the knee forward. Then you're going to pull your knee back and rotate your hips and your rib cage to the right. So you open up, turn everything left, knee drives forward, then you pull back, turn everything right. Nice. As you drive forward, try to stay connected to your right heel if you can. Perfect. Let's do one more. Yeah. And then you can take your block and place it back down. We're going to stick both hands on our yoga blocks again. You're going to take your right knee to meet your left. And then we're going to go into our knee hover and then back to a downward facing dog again. So knee hover for a moment, then hips go up and back, downward facing dog. Okay, shake the head yes and no. Bend the knees, walk the dog out. We're going to walk our feet towards our hands at the top of the mat. Take your strap or your band with you. Soften those knees, right? Like kind of bend them pretty generously and then start to roll your spine. See if you can round your spine generously also. So nice flexion through the spine. Then you're going to rotate your body a bit from side to side. Good. And then slowly go ahead and make your way on up to standing. Okay, and then once you arrive, take a moment, orient to a new position. So we're gonna go overhand grip, make fists, and you're gonna pull your band apart. So ground down through those feet, big toe mound, little toe mound, outer heel, inner heel, okay? Reach those arms up and then punch up. So grow nice and tall. Imagine you are lifting your rib cage vertically up off your pelvis. You're not doing this and flaring it, but you're just trying to lift it up. So creating some space through the abdominal container, okay? From there, you're gonna take your right arm and pull yourself to the right. So you can like side bend over to the right, keep pulling the right arm to the right as the left arm tries to pull you to the left, and then shift your hips to the left. See if you can punch your left hand like away from you and try to find a big side stretch through the left side body. And then when you're good, pull yourself up, pause in center, punch up towards the ceiling, and then you're gonna side bend over to your left. See if you can find a lot of length through your right side body. Shift your hips to the right, take a few breaths. Keep pulling your strap apart. We'll come through center. We'll soften the knees and shift the body weight forward. So you're heavy in the balls of the feet, light in the heels. You're gonna pull your band behind your head. So you bend your elbows behind you. You pull it apart and you're gonna lift your heart up towards the ceiling, trying to find a bit of a stretch through this part of the body, through like your upper diaphragm, basically, through the belly. And just take a few breaths here. Look up towards the ceiling. Keep pulling the band apart. Keep shifting your weight forward. Couple of breaths. And then we're going to shift our weight back into our heels. Reach the arms up. And then we're going to find our chair pose. So bend your knees. Actually, let's bring the arms down for a sec. Give the shoulders a little rest. So you're going to bend your knees and sit your hips back at the same time. And then I just want you to weight shift forward and back maybe 5-6 times. So balls of feet, heels. Nothing really needs to lift up. Just let it be subtle and see what you feel. Try not to have your pelvis too tucked under. You want to kind of untuck your sits bones a bit here. Good. Okay, then once we got our weight shift going, okay, you're gonna find a place where you feel like you're in the middle of the balls of the feet and the heels. You're gonna shift over to your left foot. Shift over to your left foot. Take your right foot one step behind you, your right heel up. Okay, so you're on the ball of your right foot. You're gonna wanna keep that there. What we're gonna do is shift forward into the ball of your left foot and let your left heel come up a tiny bit. So we shifted forward, the left heel came up a tiny bit. Now you're gonna drop your left heel and sink your butt an inch. Yes, perfect. Shift forward, you're on the ball of the foot, the heel comes up a tiny bit, and then you drop your left heel, sink your butt an inch. Pull your band apart as you do this. If it feels hard, that's because this is hard. Good. You shift forward, you're in the ball of the foot, and then you sink the heel, sink the butt. Good. It's a lot of work for this left leg. Most of our body weight is in our left leg. The right leg is our kickstand. Nice job. Take the right foot, bring it back next to the left. Shift over to your right leg. Take the left foot behind you. Keep pulling your band apart. Shift forward into the ball of the right foot. Heel up an inch. Heel down. Sink the butt. Good. Shift forward. Heel up. Heel down. Sink the butt. Perfect. So really subtle movement, but a lot of load for this right leg now. Good. And you might be getting some shoulders, some abs. Nice job. Go forward, heel up, and then heel down, you sink. Good. Take the left foot in to meet the right. We're going to stand all the way up. We're going to reach the arms up, grow nice and tall. We're going to take a flat back. So send the butt back like you're kind of trying to close the door with your butt. Your arms go out in front of you. Going to lose the band. Plant your palms on your yoga blocks. We're going to step our feet back into our high plank. And then let's take a quick child's pose here. Kind of come back to a neutral place. So bring the knees down, and then you can send your hips back. If you're okay with your hands on your blocks here and you want to kind of a stretch through the shoulders, you can round your upper back and then press your palms down. If you need to give those arms a rest, feel free to make a pillow for your head with your hands, and then you're gently swaying the body from side to side or finding complete stillness. Just kind of see what you need right now as your recalibration. Let the breath settle. Let the belly be soft. Great. So then we'll climb back up on our blocks. Yep, and you're going to extend your left leg straight back. So you're on the ball of your left foot and you're pulsing the heel back and forth. Yep, so you're looking for like a minor calf stretch. Minor calf stretch. Good. From there, we're going to do this fire hydrant goalpost arm. So I'm just going to angle myself a little so you can see like what my arm is doing in case we forgot. So make sure you have your right knee padded if you need it. You're going to bend this left knee, flex the toes, though, pull the toes towards the knee, and then your elbow is bent at 90 degrees. Push away from your block with this left hand, but keep the elbow soft. And then you're going to take your leg out to the side, arm out to the side at the same time, and then bring them right back into center. So see if you can coordinate this. Stay nice and connected to your core. Stay with your breath. Try not to dump all your weight over to your right, meaning like don't kind of shift your hips a ton to the right. Try to keep the pelvis square. Good. Nice job. And then once you feel all set with that, the right hand comes down, the left foot steps forward in between the hands. We're going to take the yoga block with us, we're gonna give the yoga block a nice hug. Your back toes can be tucked or untucked. At first, try to tuck your pelvis a bit. Look for a bit of stretching length through your right quad. Perfect. Now your gaze, your headlights at your eyes are straight ahead. Your headlights at your hip bones are straight ahead. And then you're rotating your rib cage side to side. It might feel restricted, okay? That's totally normal. And try not to rush it. Like this one can be easy to go really fast. So if you can just take your time a bit, stay grounded in your left foot and your right knee. So you might even think about dragging them towards each other. Good. And then what we'll do, walk your left foot forward just a little bit to give yourself a little more space. Now, as you drive your left knee forward, you're gonna rotate your hips away from your left leg, rotate the hips right, and then rotate left. So now we are adding pelvic rotation into the mix, plus our knee drive, okay? And if you wanna think about the arch of your left foot, getting some pronation, supination practice, as you drive your knee forward, move your weight into the inner edge of your left heel and let the arch lengthen. As you pull back here, you're in the outer edge of your left heel and the arch of your foot lifts up off the ground a bit. If that is confusing, feel free to ignore it. Good, let's do one more. Beautiful. And then you can bring your yoga block down. You can bring your left knee in to meet your right. We're gonna have both hands on our yoga blocks again, and then head into our downward facing dog. You can get there however you want. Okay, and then today we're gonna play with some downward dog push-ups. So make sure your yoga blocks are secure. Okay, make sure they're secure. And for these, you can have your palm just flat on your blocks like we've had, or you can curl your fingertips around the front of the blocks if that feels better in your wrist, or it just feels like you get a better grip there. You can totally do that. Like that's a nice option. From there, another thing to keep in mind here is you do not need to bend your elbows a lot. So a tiny bit is fine, but just enough so you feel some good work. And what you want to do here is think of the crown of your head moving towards the ground as you bend your elbows, then push yourself up away from the ground. But like you're in charge, right, of how low you go, but just make sure your gaze is right between your heels. I just don't want your gaze like up towards the front of the mat because of your neck. We kind of want to keep the neck in line with the spine here, but you just bend your elbows as much or as little as you want to. But if, yeah, these are hard, but in a good way, a little bit of a fun challenge. Okay, so maybe one or two more. Beautiful. And then walk your feet together. You're gonna reach your right leg up behind you. We're gonna open the hip one time. So just open, turn that right hip out. And then you're gonna turn towards the mat and step your right foot forward in between your hands. And you can always help it, but hopefully with the yoga blocks under the hands, it's a little bit easier. And then let's take the yoga blocks onto their highest height. Yoga blocks onto their highest height. Great. Okay, from here, we're gonna do a little bit of rotation. So take your right hand outside your right knee, press them into each other. Knee into hand into knee. Once you get that, turn your sternum, turn your rib cage towards the right, and then reach your right arm up. Spin your right palm away from you, so we're internally rotating the shoulder. Take the right hand behind the low back, and then reverse it, bring the arm all the way up, bring it alongside the right ear, and then float your hand down to your yoga block. Okay, then what we're gonna do is drop the left heel down, so you're in a warrior two stance. You're gonna rotate to the left. You're gonna drag your left hand like up the inside edge of this leg, along your chest, all the way up. Reach it alongside your left ear. Take a moment, try to find a big lengthening stretch through your left side body. Reach, beautiful. And then bring the left hand down, pick up the back heel, you're back in your runner's lunge. So we'll do it one more time like that on each side. Right hand outside right knee, press them together and use that to rotate yourself to the right. So your heart turns right, right arm goes up, palm spins away from you, hand comes behind low back, then arm comes all the way up, reaches forward, hand comes down, left heel drops down, We rotate left. We're dragging this left arm all the way up the chest, all the way up the body. Left arm reaches up, and then alongside left ear. Pause for a moment here. Find the length through the left side. Left hand comes down to yoga block. Left heel lifts back up. We're back in our runner's lunge. Okay, so we're gonna take one yoga block with us and lift our torso up over this right leg. So we're bent over the right knee, our back leg is straight. The back leg is not way back here. Bring it in a little. Back heel is up, front heel is down. Okay, from here, you're gonna take your yoga block, okay, a little bit of an activity. We're gonna pass the yoga block under our right thigh and then come up and pass it up above our head. So you gotta lean forward in a hinge as you pass it under the leg, and then you kind of lift up a bit. Yeah, nice. So we'll do 4 passes in this direction. When you come up, you might want to bend your back knee a little if that feels better in your low back. But when you come forward, you can straighten that back leg. Good. Yeah. When you come up, you might need to bend the back knee a little. Nice. So once you do 4 like that, see if then you can reverse your direction. You come up, your back knee bends a smidgen, and then you pass it. Good. So we're just really loading this front leg quite a bit, but then also getting the shoulders moving. Might challenge the balance a bit. Good. Really nice job. You can bring your block down. You're going to drop your back heel. We're going to straighten this leg. We're going to turn the toes in so we're in a wide-legged shape. The outer edges of the feet are parallel with the edges of the mat. And then just tick-tock your hips from side to side. Perfect. Okay, we're going to go bear hug scenario with our yoga block. And we're gonna work from the outer edge of your right foot, meaning like I want you to kind of push yourself to your left. So we're gonna do a lateral lunge. So when you do the lateral lunge, your butt goes back, straight back, but your left knee checks align with your second toe. So it doesn't go out here, it doesn't go in here, okay? Then you can lean forward a little. So we're not up here, we are leaning forward. Good. From this position, think of spreading the ground apart with your feet without moving your feet. You'll feel more tension, okay? And then you're literally just gonna rotate your yoga block to the left and then a little bit to the right. It's gonna be restricted to the right. Little bit left, little bit right. Notice if all your body weight's in your heel. If that's the case, shift your body weight forward a little bit into the ball of the foot. Good. Definitely challenging to rotate right. Good. Now get heavy through this left leg and light in your right leg and just push yourself up all the way back to standing. Perfect. Yeah, that was great. And then just tuck the hips. Great. Now you're going to press yourself over to the right side. So you're kind of working from the outer edge of your left foot. You're shifting your hip back to the right. Your knee is tracking straight ahead. You're leaning forward a bit. Your body weight is it's in the ball of the foot and the heel, but I don't want you way back in the heel. So just kind of find that place where you feel good tension in the back of the glute. And then you're going to rotate right, rotate left, rotate right, rotate left. You can have your head move with you, or you could keep your head stationary. Just kind of do whatever feels natural. Rotating left will definitely feel restricted. Nice job. Then pause. I want you to get really heavy through the right leg, really light through the left, and then push yourself up nice and slow. Nice. And then we'll tick-tock the hips. And we'll take the yoga block down. So we're gonna turn the right toes back to face front. We're gonna lift our back heel and pivot and turn. So now we're coming back into a runner's lunge with both yoga blocks on the highest height and our hands parked on top of it. From here, we're gonna bring our left knee in towards our chest. You can have your right knee straight, but not locked. So there's a tiny softening, and then we're gonna tuck and untuck the pelvis in this position. So you wanna play with sticking your butt up and then tucking it under. Sticking it up, tucking it under, just like we've done now. We did it on our backs, we did it in tabletop, and now we'll do it on a single leg. Good. Then I want you to pause with your butt sticking up a tiny bit. Butt sticking up a tiny bit. From here, you're gonna let your left hip drop down a little bit. So my left hip is lower than my right hip, and then push through your right foot to hike your left hip a little bit higher than the right. So you drop it down a bit, and then use your right foot driving through the ground to get that left hip up. Try not to tuck your pelvis as you do this. Try to keep your sits bones kind of moving up towards the ceiling as best as you can. Good. Really nice job. And your right leg is not bending and straightening. This is all happening at your pelvis or at that hip. Nice job. Plant the left foot down. Left heel up. Yep. And then you're going to come off your yoga blocks. We're going to round the spine and we're going to roll up. And we're going to revisit our hingy lunges. We did them, I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 classes, maybe 3 classes ago. So you're going to have your right foot flat, your left heel up. So it's not the close gate stance, but it's not way out here, somewhere in the middle, and you can always adjust. What it's going to be is a little lean forward and both knees bending straight down. For arms, go with whatever you're feeling. You could just bring the elbows by your sides if you don't know what to do with them. You can have them straight down, you can have them out. Like, not going to worry about the arms here. We're going to lean forward a little bit. Don't lean forward too much. That would be too much. Okay, about 45 degrees. Then just bend your knees to a place that you feel comfortable. Then get heavy in both feet and press yourself all the way up. Then you're going to look straight ahead. So every time we're going to lean forward a bit, bend the knees, drop down to your bottom, and then slowly stand up. Love it. Okay, so you lean forward, but not too much. You bend both knees. You go down, and then you stand all the way up. Really nice job. Yeah, really been liking this variation for people. Everyone seems to be able to get into a good position here. Nice. Ankles flex, knees flex, hips flex, and we all stand, and then everything stands back up. Good. We'll do one more. We're going to do a little bit of balance. Going to take your back knee in towards you. See if you can pull it in and shift your hips back a little. So hips aren't jutting forward here. They shift back a little. Yep. Good. From here, see if you can keep your knee where it is and take your hands away. Good. And then see if you can do tiny circles with this left hip and knee. Tiny, tiny. You can focus your gaze on a spot in front of you. They're like golf ball size. The smaller, the better. And then go in the other direction. Yeah, it's a lot of work for the hip flexor and the core on this left side. Yeah, but often if you feel like you have tight hip flexors, something like this is going to be more helpful for it than just stretching. Good. Okay, left foot comes down, left heel's up. Arms are going to reach up, grow nice and tall. We're going to swan dive forward, butt back, plant the palms, step your left foot back, and then reach through your palms and reach your right leg all the way up and back, 3-legged dog. We're going to be rocking forward into a high plank and then lowering all the way down onto our bellies. So feel free to drop the knees down first or not, totally up to you. And then once you arrive, make your pillow for your forehead, bend those knees, gently sway the legs from one side to the other. Let the whole body get heavy, soft, relaxed. Take a few moments. Let the body settle. Awesome. And then we're going to go with lifting the upper body, but keeping the lower body fixed to the ground. So the tops of the feet are going to stay glued. And we're going to go with hands behind the head. So you can interlace the fingers and then do your best to get your elbows up nice and high without shrugging your shoulders up too close to your ears. Think of your shoulder blades spreading apart, east to west. So it's kind of like your left shoulder moves to the left, your right shoulder moves to the right. It's just going to broaden your upper back, okay? So with that, elbows up, you're going to lift your chest, your head, everything up. We're going to keep this, okay? Keep your elbows a fixed point. Open your arms. You got to open your wingspan here, okay? And then re-bend your elbows. And then open your arms. Re-bend the elbows. Keep thinking about the shoulder blades moving away from each other. Good. 2 more. And then we're going to visit one we haven't done in ages, but we'll bring it back today. You open the arms and we do our arm circles. So keep them small to start. Try to imagine those shoulder blades continue spreading apart. You can go at any pace you want. I'm just moving kind of slow today, so my shoulder circles are slow, but you have a lot of like extra energy. You might want to move your arms really fast, okay? And then go ahead and go in the other direction, but we're keeping them pretty small. Notice if you started to clench your face or your jaw, and try to relax, okay? Once you feel like a good shoulder burn, for lack of a better term, okay, we're gonna take a rest, okay? And so then when you're ready, you can bend the elbows, bring them under the head again, relax the shoulders, and then shimmy, dance, or shake those hips out. And then we're gonna work on lifting the lower half, keeping the upper half on the ground. So your forehead can stay on your hands, and we're gonna just go ahead and start to lift the legs up and down. And just do that maybe, I don't know, 6 to 8 times. You're just lifting both legs up, noticing what that feels like, and then coming down. Yeah, our legs are straight. They're not locked, but they're definitely straight here. We're just lifting both up, both down. Good. So then what we're gonna do is lift the legs up and just take them apart a little bit. So instead of having them right next to each other, take them a little bit wider. And then we're gonna do little mini circles with our legs, okay? So they're lifting up towards the ceiling as high as they can. The upper body's chilling. The upper body's relaxed. The face is relaxed. The shoulders relaxed. And then you're just circling those legs. Yeah, this should hopefully be kind of a nice burn too. And then go ahead and reverse your direction. Good. So maybe getting into the backs of the legs. These are also golf ball size circles, but they are coming from your hip. Like it's your whole leg that's circling. The legs are off the ground. And as you're circling, try to keep lifting the legs higher. That's where the kind of magic of this is going to be. You keep trying to lift those legs higher. Nice. And then when you're all set, you can bring the legs down, relax the whole body, and then gently sway from side to side. Beautiful. Okay, from here, we're gonna make our way into our Sphinx. Let's go with a supinated form. We haven't done these in a few weeks. So spin your palm up, right? So the fingernail side of the hand is down, and you're gonna press the tops of your feet down. And I want you to think about growing your heart forward through your hands. Yeah, and then instead of sinking towards the ground here, pull your shoulder blades apart and lift your rib cage up. Good. In this position, you're gonna move your left ear towards your left shoulder, and then your right ear towards your right shoulder. Now, we don't even want them to touch. That would be kind of too much flexibility in the neck, but it's just a landmark. You're just moving the ear in that direction, getting a bit of a stretch through the sides of the neck. Good. And then come to center, drop your chin to your sternum, and then move your chin to your right collarbone, and then to your left collarbone. Again, try not to sink towards the ground at all. You're still moving away from the ground, and your chin is just moving one collarbone to the other. Good. And then you can pick your head up, come back up to center. We're gonna look up at the ceiling. And when you look up at the ceiling, you can move your bottom teeth in front of your top teeth, and it's gonna stretch out the front of your neck a little more. And then if you want, you can do a gentle motion like side to side if it feels good. Really small. Nice. We'll come back to center, okay? Tuck our toes, drive your knees. So don't lift the knees, drive your knees into the ground and lift your pelvis up. So you want your pelvis, your rib cage, and your head in a line. Good. We're gonna pause here for a few cycles of breath. Good. Think about dragging your elbows and your knees towards each other. You don't want your hips up here. You don't want your hips down here. You want to try to get those dimensions where pelvis, rib cage, and head can be in the same line. You're not rounding too much through your upper back, but you're not sinking way down here either. It's a tricky position, so just be patient with it. But if you can feel your core working somewhat, you're good, okay? Toes are tucked, knees and elbows dragged towards each other. Taking a few breaths. When you're all set with this, we're gonna head into dolphin. If dolphin's not your thing, we'll meet you in child's pose in 2 seconds. If it is your thing, you're gonna hike your hips up, Walk your feet in towards your elbows. Look at your feet behind you. Relax your head. Take a few breaths in dolphin. You're going to move your rib cage towards your thighs. Relax your head. Your knees can straighten any amount that feels good to you. Our palms are still facing the ceiling. We're still in that supinated position. And then once you're all set with that, you'll drop your knees down, untuck your toes, and then let's all take like a nice fetal position, child's pose. So hands can come down by feet, shoulder blades can melt away from each other. You can breathe into your mid back. Let the whole body get nice and heavy and soft. Relax for a second. And then we're going to sweep our arms forward, climb up on top of those yoga blocks. And then however works for you, we're going to get into that downward facing dog again, okay? So you're going to do hips up. You can curl the fingers around the front of the blocks or not. We're going to visit those push-ups again. So your gaze is right between your ankles, and you're going to bend your elbows any amount that works for you. So that might mean like a baby like amount. You just kind of pulse the elbows. That's fine. If you can go a little further, you bend the elbows a little bit more, and then you press yourself up. Just meet yourself where you are. There's no wrong way to do these. Just make sure your blocks are secure. They're not going to go anywhere. We're definitely heavy through the upper body here. Maybe like 2 more. We won't do as many this round. And then bring your feet next to each other. Reach your left leg all the way up. You're going to rotate your left hip out, and then turn face your mat. Step your left foot forward in between your hands. Climb up onto the highest height of the blocks. So we got our runner's lunge. We got our feet on our train tracks, not a tightrope. We got our left hand coming to the outer edge of the left knee. They're going to press into each other pretty firmly, and use that pressing to rotate your sternum to the left. Left arm goes up. Palm spins away from you. Hand comes behind low back. We reverse it. The arm comes up, reaches all the way alongside the left ear, comes all the way down to your yoga block. Right heel drops down into warrior 2 stance. We rotate to the right. That right arm drags across the body, reaches up, and then reaches alongside the left ear. Find the length through the right side body here, and then right hand comes down, right heel lifts up. One more time to the left. Press hand and knee together, outer knee, and then use that to rotate you left. Left arm up, left arm alongside left ear, left arm all the way down to block. Right heel down, warrior 2 stance, rotate to the right, reach that right arm up, find some nice length through the right side. Right arm goes alongside right ear, and then comes down to block. You come back to your runner's lunge on that right foot. Okay, so now one block's going to get out of the way. One block is going to come up with you. So we're going to lean our torso over our left leg. Your back heel is up, your front heel is down. Your front knee is bent, your back leg is straight for right now. We're going to lean forward and pass the block under our front thigh. Yep, and then as you come up, you're going to pass it above your head. You might bend your back knee for that. You lean forward, pass the block, and then come up. So we're going to do our best to do about 4 rotations in each direction. Taking your time with it. It's okay if it's a little bit wobbly. You'll find your center. So a total of 8. Lean forward, pass, and then you face straight ahead. Back knee bends a little. Back leg straightens. Nice job. Great. And then after that, you're going to drop your back heel down, straighten your left leg, turn the left toes to face straight ahead. Okay, so we're going to do similar but different on this side for our side lunges. So feet face straight ahead. The outer edges of your feet are parallel with the mat. We still got our bear hug. We're going to go to the right side first. So you're going to use the outer edge of your left foot, shift yourself into your right. Make sure your right foot is straight ahead. It's not turned out, okay? Your knee is tracking straight ahead over your second toe, and your butt is back. You're gonna lean forward over that leg, and this time we're gonna just side bend. We're not gonna rotate, we're gonna side bend from one side to the other. So it's just a little different. It's like you're lengthening the left side, shortening the right, and then lengthening the right, shortening the left. But don't be up here, okay? Lean forward and side bend there. Good. Nice. See what that feels like? A little bit different. Try not to be rounded in your pelvis. So untuck, stick your butt up a little. Good. And then we'll do that same thing. Get heavy in the right leg, light in the left. Take your time and push yourself up. Nice. And then we'll tick-tock the hips from side to side. Great. And then you're going to use the outer edge of the right foot and shift yourself over to the left. Okay. So now you want this knee tracking with your second toe. You're going to lean your body over the left leg. Yep, perfect. And then you're side bending left and right. Subtle movement, subtle movement. You can also spread the ground apart here with your feet. Okay. So when you side bend left, you're shortening the left side, lengthening the right, and then you just side bend a little to the right. Yeah, just like the side bending you do like standing up, but we're leaning forward. Good. Versus last time we rotated. So different motion. Yes. Love it. Get heavy through the left foot now. Heavy on the left leg, and then press yourself up. Super good job. Okay, turn your left toe to face straight ahead. Lift the back heel. We're going to come back into that runner's lunge shape with both yoga blocks on the highest height underneath the hands. You're going to walk your blocks forward and take your right knee in towards you. So in this position, I want you to straighten your left leg without locking the knee out too much. And then you're going to stick your butt up and scoop your butt under. Stick it up, tuck it under. So a few pelvic tilts, and then try to find a place where you're more sticking butt up than not. From there, you're going to let your right hip drop down a little bit. That one's a little easier, I think. And then to hike it, you're going to drive through your left foot and use that to hike that right hip up. So it drops down and then it hikes up. Okay, you're heavy, heavy, heavy in that left foot, getting it to hike up. Good. It's subtle, right? It's really subtle, and it's a vertical motion. So you're not opening the leg to the side. It's straight down and then straight up. Straight down, straight up. Yeah. Just on that right side. Good. Well, the work is on the left side, okay? This is always interesting. The work is on the left side. The motion is on the right side. Nice job. From here, you're going to plant the ball of your right foot down on the ground. You're going to come off those blocks. We're going to roll the spine all the way on up. Awesome. Take your time. Make sure you're not getting dizzy. Adjust your feet for these hingy lunges. Okay, so your back heel is up, your front heel is down. It's not way back here, not way in here, somewhere in the middle. Bend the elbows. Okay, so as you lean forward about 45 degrees over your front leg, you're going to bend your knees towards the ground, then get heavy through your feet and slowly stand yourself up, and you're going to look straight ahead. So we're unhinging, and then you go back into it. You lean forward, you bend your knees, then drive through your feet to stand up. Where you have your pressure in your left foot will change this. So everyone is a little bit different, but something you can play around with just in your own body is like playing with going more towards the outer edge of your left heel and seeing if like focusing on the outer edge of your left heel gets it more in the glute or changes it for you. Or some of you might want to be more on the inner edge of the heel, actually. So anyway, I throw that out there just if you want to like experiment with it. It's a little subtle change that you can play with. But your body weight isn't only in the heel, right? It's also in the ball of the foot. But those subtle little nuances can make a big difference. So let's do just one more. And then we're going to take our back leg in towards our chest. We're not going to shift our hips forward. We're going to shift our hips back. Okay. And then you're going to pull your knee in and take your hands away. And then you're just going to do the tiniest circle with this leg. Like a golf ball size circle. Yeah. Kind of like the knee and the hip move together. Your gaze can be on a fixed point. We'll go in both directions. And then when you're good, you're gonna step this right leg behind you, the heels up. You're gonna reach those arms up, grow nice and tall, take a nice inhale, and then exhale. We'll swan dive forward. We'll plant our palms down on our yoga mat, step the right leg back, drive through your hands to reach the left leg all the way up and back. Well, let's open the hip. It'll feel good. And then we'll come back to center. We're gonna bring our knees down, and then we're gonna start to wind things down. Yeah, that was a lot, okay? So see if you can shift your hips to the left a little bit here and a little bit to the right, and look for some length through the sides of the body. So like when you shift to the left, you can lean your body to the right. And then when you shift your butt to the right, you can lean to the left. Yeah. And if you like this one better, where you take the hands to your heart, you can do that, but just make sure your ankle joint, your knees, happy with it. Okay. And then we'll swing our legs around, give them a nice shake. And then let's revisit our rock and rolls. So we did them at the beginning and we'll do them at the end. We'll just do a classic. You won't do the overhead reach, but see if you can do like, I don't know, 5 or 6, and you're just gonna roll back on your breath in, roll up on your breath out. They might feel quite different than the first round. Try to get it as fluid and smooth as possible. And then we're going to make our way down onto our backs. Take a moment, re-arrive here, and gently rock your head from one side to the other. Let the eyes get so heavy. Maybe even close them, let the eyelids soften. Try to relax the neck. Good. Okay, and then take your yoga block. We'll put it underneath the pelvis. A little bit of inversion. So hips are gonna be heavy on the block. And then once you get the block there, take a moment and intentionally relax the belly and intentionally relax the pelvic floor. So that's like the opposite of a Kegel or the opposite of squeezing your butt, basically. If you are unsure if you're able to relax it, sometimes you can squeeze and then relax, and then you'll have that feeling of, okay, it's relaxed. Nothing's gripping there. Just a really common place to just be unconsciously gripping tension. So sometimes it takes a little bit of conscious awareness to let it go. Okay. Even like noticing, like when you're like cooking or just standing around, like sometimes you might catch yourself just kind of clenching there. We don't need to. Let it go. Okay. And then when you're ready, we're going to reach the legs up and gently rock from side to side. So a little bit of a back of the pelvis, low back massage. Good. And then we'll just go right into like the free for all one where you can move your legs in any shape, direction, position that you could think of or that would feel good. So you can like tap one toe to the ground, you can circle, you can internally rotate the hips, externally, you can open, close. You can not think about any of that and just think of like drawing something in space with your feet. Like if you had colored pencils attached to your toes, you could just draw around. So that any of those are going to get the hips moving in ways that they don't ordinarily get to move in, which hips like. They're a very mobile joint. Yeah, so they like movement. Good. Beautiful. And then we're going to bring the feet down, slide your yoga block out, straighten the right leg, pick up your left foot. So left knee is over left hip, the knee is bent, and you're just gonna gently cross it over the leg, like you're rolling onto your side, and then just roll right back. And you can play around with what happens with your left shoulder here. So you might do some where you keep the left shoulder down. You might do a few where you don't. just kind of see what feels best to you. But you're just really like kind of lackadaisically, kind of like a rag doll, gently rolling in and out of it, letting the body be really heavy. And then when you're good with that side, you can shift your hips a bit to the right, straighten the left leg, and then play with it on the right. So it's like a dynamic spinal twist, but really slow and gentle. Awesome. And then let's go into like a happy baby variation that you like. You could literally just widen the knees apart and grab behind the legs, or you can go all the way to the feet or the toes or the ankles, right? You might find stillness there. You might want to rock from side to side or straighten the legs. We'll take a few breaths, calming everything down, slowing down the energy. And you can stay in there while I just explain this next one. We have done it before, but I just want to come close and show you. We're going to do like that occipital bone release in the back of the head. So you just want to make sure your yoga block is on this height. So it's not on the flat height. It's not on the high height. It's on, I don't know, I hope I showed you the right one, this height. So your back of your head is going to go against this edge. Okay. Yeah, we have done it before. So I think everyone will be pretty good with it. But the back of your head's going to go on this edge. And it might take you a moment to know if you're in quote doing it right or feeling it, because sometimes it takes a few passes of the head going from side to side to really feel it. You will need to tilt your chin towards your chest. So that is a key piece. Okay. So tilt your chin towards your chest. It's going to go right on the back of your skull, right on that occipital bone. And then you just gently start to move the head from side to side. So everyone is a little bit different, meaning some of us are really tender back there. Some of us initially don't feel tender, but then the more you get into it, the tenderness sort of gets pulled out of you, like it's really deep. And then also it's going to depend on how hard your yoga block is, of course. So if you have a really foamy block, it might be a little less intense. If you have a harder block, it might be more intense. Okay. Also, it's the sensation is probably usually to one side. So once you find a spot, you could just hang out on it, or you could gently move from side to side on it, whatever you like. So this is like totally a little bit of an experiment for you, but this can do wonders for like releasing neck tension, and head, neck, face tension. Okay. And so feel free to stay here as long as you like. If you want to keep this for your final relaxation, you can. If you'd rather just have complete stillness, no stimulation, you can take the block out. But excuse me, we'll kind of combine this with our final relaxation. You can kind of keep this if you feel like this is what you need right now, or you can take the block out if you don't. And just let the body, whichever one you chose or whatever you're up to, just let the body get super heavy. Letting go of all the work and the efforting all over. Letting all the muscles and the bones relax. Getting heavier, softer, sinking into your mat. And then when you're ready, we'll start to wiggle fingers and toes. Maybe circle the wrists a few times or move the head from side to side. Maybe curl into a tight ball or full body stretch. And then When it feels right, you can roll over to one side. Come on into your seat. And we'll come together one last time and reach our arms up, grow nice and tall, reach a little further. Palms can come together and down through heart center. We'll bow forward in gratitude for practicing together this morning. Thank you so, so much. It was great to see everyone. Let me know if you have any questions, and I'll see you Sunday.